Hello, this is the Disenfranchised Podcast. We're that podcast all about those franchises of one, those films that fancy themselves full-fledged franchises before falling flat on their face after the first film. I am your host, Stephen Foxworthy, and joining me, as always, the big dog himself, Mr. Brett Wright. Hey, Brett.
Hello, Stephen.
How we doing, man?
That's a loaded question right now.
And why is that, Brett?
This movie. Yeah.
We'll get into it. We've got 5 hours to get into it. So
it made my day worse. It made my day actively worse.
I did try to warn you. I was directly warning Tucker,
really?
but I directly warned Tucker, but you were also in that thread. So
I mean, it wasn't. It was no more of a warning than you usually give for bad movies. So I was like, it's a bad movie, it's whatever. That could not have prepared me for what awaited me on the other side.
I didn't want to mess with your expectations going in, but I had a visceral reaction, and based on the reaction that you dropped in the thread, I think you and I had the same reaction. So
yeah. Except you managed to finish it and I didn't. So
in one sitting, no less.
I mean, look, that you do that. You managed to finish Food Fight in one sitting. I had to do that in multiples. But that at least had spectacle and novelty and curiosity, propelling me forward to know what the hell happened.
This is the bar, ladies and gentlemen. If you are a first-time listener, then you have no context for what's going on. But I will lay it out here. But before I do that, I do want to introduce the other elephant in the room.
The man who still hasn't seen Food Fight.
Correct. The man who has not seen the albatross on this podcast that is Food Fight. Tucker. Hey, Tucker. What's going on?
Hey, if this movie is worse than Food Fight, then give me some fucking Food Fight, because this was a breeze. You guys are rookies, dude.
Food Fight is still worse.
You don't watch shit movies all the time, okay? And number two, you haven't been watching shit children's TV and movies for the last 15 years.
That's also true.
So your boy's got armor for this shit.
You got the parent armor
for this shit.
That makes sense. Yeah, you could probably sit down and watch Food Fight.
Give me some. If this is worse, shit. Give me some Food Fight. I'm ready.
I think they're on the same level. I put Food Fight slightly under just because of the inconsistency in animation quality.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's every bit as bad.
It sucks pretty evenly in this movie.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. This is a really bad movie, but you guys, I had a fucking great time with it.
I could not be happier. And Tucker, what movie did you have such a great time with?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but straight up Marmaduke from 2022 from the Netflixes.
The 2022 film Marmaduke, directed by Mark A.Z. DePay, the man who brought us Spawn, and starring Pete Davidson, Academy Award winner J.K. Simmons, Dave Koechner, and nobody I've heard of, Mary Hart from Entertainment Tonight. What a cast. What a picture.
I mean, I feel like you could make you could at least start a really specific letterbox list with like really shitty digitally animated cartoons with a stellar voice cast. Because Food Fight almost gets there.
Food Fight does almost get there.
Yeah.
There's a couple people phoning it in, and there's a couple people really trying in that movie. But speaking of Food Fight, again, if this is your first episode, hi, welcome. We're glad to have you. But what are you doing here? I feel like that's my common refrain these days. But back in the early days of this podcast, I think it was it our first ever Thanksgiving episode, Brett?
No, that was good old November, man.
That's right. Fucking A. Season two, our 2021 Thanksgiving episode was a little movie called Food Fight. I think we had to watch it on YouTube because it was not available literally anywhere else.
I think so.
And it is I don't know. Go listen to that episode. Pause this. We'll be right here when you get back. Go listen to Food Fight, and when you're done, come back, and then you'll have a point of comparison for what we're talking about. I mean, if you want to watch Food Fight, not a thing I recommend. And then listen to the episode, and then watch Marmaduke, and then listen to this episode again. You're in for a world of pain, but look, some people appreciate that, and I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum. So
Some people are completionist, and I appreciate that.
And
same.
Speaking of Food Fight, since I'm so ready to watch it, like not so subtle plug for the Patreon, but what if we push that Oops All Christianity corner forward, and maybe I watch Food Fight.
And we do a patron special on Food Fight, disenfranchised at the movies, Food Fight.
Now
Redux.
you guys do not have to watch it again.
Oh, I won't.
I'm not going to put you through that.
Well, but I mean, I feel like that's a Thanksgiving thing. Like we do that in
Really?
November.
You think we should? Okay.
I mean, I don't know why you do it now. Like why?
Just because I want to do it real bad. But
Well,
like if there's
sure.
a time, if there's a better time and a place, I'm
Hey,
willing to wait.
We can record it now and wait until November to release it.
Oh, I like that.
Well,
Just like
sure,
a little treasure chest we can sit on.
But then we also
Time
got to
capsule.
record Oops All Christianity Corner because then we're not releasing anything to the Patreon. So,
Correct.
so that adds
Patreon.com
an extra recording session.
Patreon.com/disenfranchised if you want to get in on whatever we decide to do.
Yeah, we're just having an on-air production meeting that
We
happens
do
from
that
time to time.
Band meeting, BTS.
Yeah, your little sneak peek behind the disenfranchised curtain. But yeah, we're here to talk about the 2022 animated film Marmaduke. And why are we talking about this movie in particular? Well, it's because later this month, we've got 3 movies releasing Memorial Day weekend this year, and we couldn't decide which one to cover. So we said, fuck it, we'll do something to tie into all of them. So the first one up is the Garfield movie, a movie based on a comic strip with a rather large version of a household pet, voiced by a, shall we say, rather unorthodox voice cast. And so here we have another movie that fits the same criteria.
It's Chris Pratt, right?
Chris Pratt is voicing Garfield, yeah.
Mm.
Mario himself is voicing...
Look, can we talk about Garfield for a minute, though? Because since we're doing this movie because of Garfield, maybe we could talk about Garfield for just a minute.
We can take a side. Look, this is a tangent-heavy podcast. It's kind of our thing.
Especially when we don't want to talk about the movie.
Yes. And I don't know that any of us other than Tucker is really excited to talk about this movie.
I know this movie sucks. Like, I don't really have much to say about it. I can tell you the good things that made me happy and like why I enjoyed this movie, but overall, yeah, this movie blows. This is a terrible fucking movie.
Yeah,
I just had a really good time with it. So I don't need a lot of time to talk about it. But anyway, that doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there. I want to talk about Garfield because to me, peak Garfield, the only good Garfield, the only funny Garfield, consistently funny Garfield is the 80s and 90s cartoon show Garfield and Friends.
Garfield and Friends. It's a good show.
The comic strip has rarely ever been funny. I liked it when I was a kid because I was a kid, which applies to this fucking movie too. That's one of the things that a positive thing I have to say about this movie is I could see like a 5 or 6 year old like really getting into this.
I was kind of wondering
myself at that age that where like I would maybe get into this for a few years, then realize it sucks, and then like never watch it again.
I was kind of wondering like who is this for? And as I was wondering that, my partner was like, your nephews would probably really love this. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
They probably would. They probably would.
Yeah. But I don't think the comic strip has ever been really that funny. None of the movies have been good. Just that one little thing, that shining light in the Garfield franchise, Garfield and Friends. It's a classic and it holds up.
The great Lorenzo music as Garfield.
Which I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Ghostbusters connection.
I was about to say the original Pete Stance until Bill Murray complained at a party.
Pete Beckman?
Yeah, that's what I meant. What did I say? Did I say Ray? No, that was Frank Welker.
You combined the two.
Did I?
Pete
Stance?
Pete Stance.
Spot the non-Ghostbusters fan.
That's a multiverse character I'm interested to meet.
That's Ray's son, who he named after his good friend Pete. That's what that is.
There you go. Okay.
Oh, you've decided to write some fan fiction, I see.
Hey,
Live on the air. Pew pew
let's
pew.
put our heads together, boys. What do you guys think about the Garfield?
Oh, I love Garfield. Like I grew up on Garfield.
Like
I
all
would.
around?
Oh yeah, I would get the comics out of the library as a kid. I read every
me too.
Garfield book up to a certain point.
Me too.
I wanted to. At one point I was supposed to go to Jim Davis's studio and like meet the man, but the trip
Straight
got
up Paws
canceled.
Inc., dude?
Yeah,
You about to
dude.
go to Paws Inc. in Muncie, Indiana,
In
dude?
Muncie, Indiana, dude. Yes, I was.
That's wild.
But that trip got
I wanna
canceled
go
like
to Paws
last
Inc.
minute. So, but no, I mean, you know, it's Indiana's own Garfield, like named after Garfield Park. John is named after Arbuckle Park. Like
Yeah,
it's Indiana roots run deep. So, no, yeah, I loved Garfield growing up, and then at some point I was reading the funny pages and realized that so few of the comics I loved as a kid were really funny at all. Like none of them were really all that funny, and like Family Circus used to make me chuckle as a kid, and now I would just be like, damn,
I have
Billy
a
and
Family
his
Circus book.
fucking line again.
Yeah, I would say the only the only comic strip that makes me laugh now is Pearls Before Swine.
How are you not gonna say the Far Side, dude?
I mean, Far Side is hit or miss sometimes.
Oh, I love
You
Far
think
Side.
so?
And Calvin
I
and
love it
Hobbes.
when it's subtle. Like the less funny it is, the funnier I think it is.
Well,
if it's the
maybe.
Far Side,
Maybe.
just
Maybe
because
so.
like the type of humor that Gary Larson does, like the less
Sometimes
obvious stuff.
his illustrations just on their own will make me laugh. One of my favorites is the Medvale School for the Gifted or Medfield School for the Gifted, where the
He's
kid is just like
man.
pushing the door that clearly
He's
says
pushing
pull.
so hard.
And he just like, I could stare at that picture, and the longer I stare at it, the funnier it gets to me. Because in my mind, it's an active picture. Like he's just actively pushing and with all of his strength, just shoving it. And it makes me laugh every time. But no, Farsight and Calvin and Hobbes were my two favorites by the time I hit middle school for sure.
Those hold up, I think, for sure.
I'm inclined.
Yeah, I never got the Calvin and Hobbes. I never got it. Never understood it. Don't know why.
I feel like you would really dig it, but yeah.
No, I've read them. I've read them, and I don't get it. I still don't. I don't see the appeal.
I mean, man,
that's valid, dude. That's
totally. Is it? Steven seems to think it isn't.
I know it's. I mean, it's absolutely valid. I just don't understand
it's baffling.
that take. But
it's baffling, yes, but it's valid.
I just never got it, man. I was just like, oh, it's another comic about a person and a cat. Whether or not that cat is imaginary or not doesn't really matter. You know,
we don't know.
Do we not? I never.
Bill Watterson.
Maybe I just wasn't that type of kid. I wasn't the type of kid that related to Calvin, that went out and played make believe all the time. I didn't do that. I stayed inside and played video games. All right.
You weren't trying to get rid of smelly girls, dude?
No.
Oh, okay.
The opposite, in fact.
Okay, all right.
So,
okay. Don Juan Delanucci over here.
Well,
going after the ladies at a young age.
What I thought of myself was not true of myself. So.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, I got that reality check beaten into me pretty early on. So,
well, you're a fucking stud muffin now, dude. So don't let
anyone
tell you different.
I'm not talking about now. I mean now.
Okay. All right.
Hell
all
yeah.
Right.
I'm a motherfucking catch right now.
Fucking A. You are.
Ashley is very lucky.
She.
I will tell her as such.
Ooh, that took a weird turn.
Kidding. If she listened, I would apologize, but she doesn't, so I won't.
There you go.
There it is. So what is everyone's thoughts about the Marmaduke comic strip, since we are here to talk about Marmaduke? Does anyone have fond memories of Marmaduke? Does anyone have any strong feelings one way or the other about Marmaduke?
Right up there with Dagwood in terms of it was my grandpa's favorite comic and I didn't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I would read the comics that I liked, I would still just read all of the other ones, even if they sucked. So I'm very familiar with Marmaduke.
For sure, yeah.
And it has always sucked.
Yeah. I am
Uh,
also of this opinion.
we're gonna have to pause for a second, guys. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Have you read Pearls Before Swine, Stephen?
Yeah, here and there. I've not like picked up like a book and just like dived in, but yeah, no, I've read that strip from time to time.
Okay. Yeah, it's got that sort of like absurd humor that like just hits my funny bone specifically.
I've enjoyed what I've read of it. Like but I don't know who any of the characters are. Like I don't read it enough to like be familiar with like who everyone. I know he draws himself into the strip quite a bit.
Yeah, it can get pretty meta sometimes. Yeah.
And I know at one point he actually had like Bill Watterson come in and draw the comic for like a week or something.
He did, yeah. It's pretty
Yeah,
funny.
which is pretty awesome. Speaking of Calvin and
Yeah.
Hobbes,
Yeah.
like that was the thing that got him out of retirement for a hot minute. Like the incredibly reclusive Bill Watterson.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
but no, I am familiar, but not like familiar enough that I'm like, oh yeah, my favorite characters in Pearls Before Swine.
Mm. You know, I mean, it's just pig and rat and zebra and the crocodile family.
Okay, and they're always trying to eat one of the characters,
Yeah.
the pig, right? Or does it
Yeah.
vary?
I think it's a zebra. They're always trying to eat the zebra.
The zebra. Okay.
Yeah.
And then every now and again, the rat's talking to the artist, like, be like, "Why'd you draw that?" And he's like, "I don't know. I thought it was funny, or something." Right?
Yeah. The rat. Yeah. The rat and the pig both. The rat more so.
I was gonna say, I feel like when I've seen those characters, it's usually the rat talking.
Yeah. Pig
To the
is
artist.
pig is the existential crisis one that like is like the wholesome, but like also super depressed, like introspective character.
Okay.
I think there's also there's also a goat.
I feel like there's a goat. I feel
There's a
like I've
goat.
seen that.
I think goat is another character that shows up every once in a while.
Am I gonna have to? I think I'm gonna have to Wikipedia this. Pearls Before Swine, because I mean, I have not like subscribed to a newspaper.
Oh no, I follow Stephen Pastis on Instagram, and
Oh well, there you go.
he posts a comic like probably once a week.
Snuffles, Rat, Stefan Pastis, Pig, Goat, Larry, who I'm guessing is the alligator, and Guard Duck is the listed cast on the Pearls Before Swine Wikipedia
I forgot
page.
about Guard Duck. The Guard Duck is fucking hilarious.
I mean, I love the concept of a guard duck. And then there are also two other crocodiles, Patty and Junior.
The wife
Guard
and the
Duck.
son.
Guard Duck personality. Guard Duck, formerly known as Little Guard Duck, is a violent duck hired by Pig because the cost of a proper guard dog was too high. Initially simply a violent sociopathic duck, he later took on the persona of a jaded soldier and mercenary, seeing the world as his battlefield. He frequently blows up the neighbor's property, assuming he is at war against the neighbors, and suggests militaristic solutions for common and simple neighborhood problems. Guard Duck sees Pig as his commander, often referring to him as Sir. Accordingly, Pig is often forced to mitigate Guard Duck's ability to cause damage, typically by locking him in a close hamper. Pastis has emphasized that Guard Duck has a predominantly cool persona in that while he is prone to violence, he does not freak out or panic.
Right. He avoids the PTSD undertones that he could play with.
I mean, that's probably for the best, given that it is a comic strip in mainstream newspapers.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, Tucker. Welcome back. We were just talking about Pearls Before Swine.
Oh, cool. Well, I can just keep that in then. Well, I mean, I'll edit parts of the beginning out, but yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll leave it in. Was it good? It was good.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is me saying how good of a comic it is, and Steven
Way
looked
into
up some
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and we had a good laugh about.
I mean,
I'll listen to it. Yeah.
if you listen, we could put it on the Patreon as a hot mic segment. We could throw it up as a bonus snippet. We could put it at the end of the episode.
So many options.
There's so many to choose from.
Who knows which one we will?
I mean, honestly, that feels like a after credits scene for the episode. Honestly, I think that's where it fits best. But that's just
I like that.
I'm way into it. What did I say before I was so briskly whisked away?
Oh,
I think we're
stuff.
talking about Marmaduke.
Probably something cool.
Oh
Talking
yeah,
about-
you were talking about your history with Marmaduke. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I said Marmaduke sucks.
Straight
Right.
up.
Yeah,
straight
it's
up.
real bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my history, as along with what I've already said, is like I also like I was a big comic strip kid. Like I read that shit all the time because my dad was one too. Right next to that oft mentioned stack of Spider-Man comics that my dad had that I read all the time was a stack of three different comic strip collections: Peanuts, Garfield, and Doonesbury of all. These,
That's
one
not
of these
for
things is
kids.
not like the other.
No, that's definitely a for our parents kind of comic strip.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I was a big comic strip person, but I never got into Marmaduke. I always thought it was kind of boring.
Yeah,
It was ugly too. It was ugly.
Yeah, there's that. Which I mean,
I don't
I
mind
do wanna
saying it looks like shit.
I do want to get into like why, like if you want to base a movie on a comic strip, why would you make literally none of the characters look like the characters in the comic strip?
interesting question. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you give the mom a dump truck so large it rivals literally every Pixar mom put together?
What
Oh, hell
even
yeah.
was that? Like the
That
way
almost single-handedly got me through the movie. If only she had been in it more, might have finished the film.
Yeah, so let's like point out, let's circle and pin that for later. Brett didn't finish this. Not that any of us blame him.
No.
I mean,
but
you
no,
can if you want. I'm not going to finish it, so it's not going to change anything.
yeah.
I blame you, Brett.
Look, if there's
Woe,
integrity,
grief, blame,
like
and shame.
if some fans want to talk about integrity on this podcast, all right, that's fine.
You want to talk about integrity? I finished the credits, through the credits.
Same. I heard Pete Davidson rap.
I mean, I watched all the credits.
I've never been happier to
That's
not have finished a movie, knowing that.
And it's real bad too. It's real,
Mhm.
like he's not even.
Marmaduke says "bow wow," literally
Wow, dude.
a
Sure
line
says
he raps multiple times.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, it's a thing.
And there's this weird like Good Charlotte sounding song, and then there's like kind of an actually cool instrumental at the end of the credits. That's pretty rad.
There's a bunch of like movie posters, parody movie posters, where they put Marmaduke into better movies, and it just reminds you of all the better ways you could have spent the last hour and 40 minutes.
That's true, but some of them were kind of creative. I
Sure.
appreciated a few of them.
Sure, but again, it just reminds me of movies I would rather have been watching than Marmaduke.
Don't reference good movies in your shitty movie. It just makes your movie look
Correct.
shittier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It
That's a real
reminds us
thing
that
that
there are
happens.
better movies out there.
Much better films.
I had a buddy in high school who would routinely point out how unfunny Marmaduke was. Like he made it his
I like
vendetta.
this guy.
Yeah, to just like rail against Marmaduke. He'd be like, "Oh, hey guys, let's check out Marmaduke," because we always had newspapers in our like civics classes, and so he'd pull out the newspaper and he'd read it in this just outlandish voice, and it'd just sit there and like stare at all of us like Norm Macdonald after he told a joke that bombed on Weekend Update. He just kind of like
Does a Norm joke really bomb though? Or
a few of them did.
Most people just not getting it. Norm's that's some complex humor that dude.
I mean, yeah, I think that's more accurate, but I mean, you know, bombing is bombing. Even if we understand the joke and we laugh.
Yeah.
You're right. I concede. You're right.
Know your audience, but I think the audience for Marmaduke, I question sometimes. I know there are people who really love it, like people have tried to cancel it from like take it out of newspapers, and there's always like this big letter writing campaign, and people get very angry. I think
because it's been around since like the 1800s. Like, of course, people are going to be up in arms about something that's been around that long. People hate change, especially old people, especially boomers.
1954. This comic is a year younger than my father.
Hey.
Yeah. So of course those people are going to be mad that you're trying to take their funny dog out of
Take
their
my Marmadukes.
Not my Marmaduke.
take it out of my paper.
I wish that there were still papers, you guys. I hate to sound like an old man because I like getting my news and shit from the internet and everything. That's cool, I guess. But the newspaper is just more focused. Like it makes me read things that I would normally scroll past on the internet. Like if I sit down with a newspaper and I'm about to read the whole thing, I'm going to learn some shit that I would not learn on the internet because I would never read those fucking articles.
At the risk of sounding, old, I mean, that's kind of the problem. Like, it's the reason that we have such deep, like millennials have such deep pop culture knowledge is because we only had the TV. So, if something, if Looney Tunes came on, that shit, those are reruns from like 10, 15 years ago. But we're
Or
watching them
longer.
anyway, or longer.
Yeah.
We're watching them because there's nothing else on.
Exactly.
We're watching MTV and listening to music that we, in this day and age, we would just skip on Spotify. Like, it's the same thing with newspapers. Like, you're not getting that depth of knowledge because you can choose to not read it or watch it anymore.
We are a culture now that is able to choose what media they do and do not consume to a degree that has never been possible. And so we have now the option to not engage with parts of the culture, whereas before that was a requirement. Like it was something that we needed to do. And it's more and more difficult to impress upon younger generations, speaking as someone who has educated them, the importance of engaging with certain aspects of the culture unless they already have an interest in it.
Yeah.
So.
You think kids nowadays give two shits about the Dick Van Dyke Show? Hell no. You better believe I was watching that with
like
bells
that
on
show.
every night.
And why were you watching it? Because it was on.
Mary Tyler Moore. Oh.
Well, also that. Mary Tyler Moore. Dick Van Dyke Show.
Oh, I was about to. Who can turn the world on with her smile?
Yeah, I thought you were talking about the Mary Tyler Moore show, not
no,
just
we were
her
talking
on
about,
Dick Van Dyke
but
Show.
she's on Dick. Okay. All right.
I mean, she was both.
Yeah.
She contains multitudes.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, she can be a hot wife and she can throw her hat in the air. It's,
Yeah, dude.
And then
I
she
think
can
she's-
also
you know
grieve the loss of a son in Robert Redford's Academy Award-winning film Ordinary People.
I think she's gonna make it after all, you guys.
Look at that range.
I think we're all going to make it after all.
That remains to be seen.
MTM for lives.
But yeah, no, Marmaduke, not funny. I think I liked it as a kid because it was in the comics, but like
Or haha, goofy dog do goofy thing.
Right. And like I've read some recent like I got online and like looked up Marmaduke comic strip yesterday as I was watching this film because anything to distract myself. And I looked at some Marmaduke strips
on my phone, so I couldn't do anything on my phone because I was watching it on my phone.
Oh no!
Sorry, Steven, continue. I just had to point that out.
You're fine. So I'm like, I looked at a few Marmaduke strips, and one of them, there was just the mom is looking out the window, and there's a cop car going by, and Marmaduke is on the floor with his paws over his ears, and the only dialogue is, "Uh-oh." What? What?
Oh,
fucking what?
Did you hear it in Pete Davidson's voice though?
No, that no. Why that is the most baffling thing about this movie is why do you cast Pete Davidson?
It makes no sense.
Marmaduke. It does
no
negative sense.
And he's the only voice actor in this movie that does not at least try. I think that there are some voice actors in this film that are not the celebrities, but the people who are more actual voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
They do fantastic with what they're given.
Like, the guy playing the dog trainer is doing awesome.
And actually, if I can point out, David Koechner, he gets the MVP, even though he's not, a voice actor. He's more of a comedian or whatever. But he just sounds like a generic cartoon character in this movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't even sound like him at all. I had to look at the credits and be like, no, he's somebody else. I was waiting for him to come up, and No, he just does a generic cartoon character voice, and he nails it, dude. He nails it. Voice cast
It's
in this outside of Pete Davidson is trying, is what I'm going to say. They are trying.
so what are Tucker, you're an SNL guy. You
Yes,
love SNL on record.
I do. I do.
How do you feel about Pete Davidson?
I think that Pete is funny. I don't think he was ever really that great in SNL. He had his moments, but overall, I did not like him very much on SNL. I think he's a talented writer, and I think he's a talented actor. So what I'm saying is, I like him, but I don't think SNL was ever really the place for him.
What is the best thing of his that you've seen?
I think I really liked Bubkiss the best. I
Bupkis
thought
is good.
that was really really well done, and he's great in it. I know he's essentially playing himself, but there's some dramatic shit in that if he's not nailing it, it doesn't work, and it all
Right.
works.
It does. I agree with you on that point. I think I might agree with you on that take because I'm thinking of the other things I've seen with him. King of Staten Island, where he is again effectively playing himself. And then I was watching before we started recording. I haven't finished it yet, so no spoilers, but I was watching Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
I like that movie so much. It's really good. Brett
Brett's
didn't
not a
like
fan.
it.
I
I
see
think
that on his
did you
face.
see it
Look,
before me? I think?
it didn't connect with me. All right, I feel like I am the outlier. Everybody seems to
We
fucking love that movie, and me and Ash
we
both
talked
were
about
like, I
this,
don't
yeah.
understand what the point of this movie was.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
so I
sure
guess I'm not the only one. At least me and my girlfriend agreed, but like nobody else does.
It's very polarizing, this film. It's not nobody's in
I've,
the middle on this one, really.
well, I've never heard anybody say a bad thing about it. Is the thing
Really?
like
I mean,
I had to
did
go
not like it.
looking for bad
Oh,
reviews.
okay.
Like
Well, if you did the research, then
yeah.
your
they're out
statistics
there.
disagree.
There's dozens of us that didn't like it,
Yeah.
but there's not many.
But I mean, I think I think I generally like him as a performer. My partner loves his SNL work. Chad is
Now
peak.
that's the one right there.
That's the one.
That's his reason for existing on SNL.
Yeah.
Is that
We
and some of his pre-recorded rap videos are good too.
yeah.
The one about Stanley Tucci.
Motherfucking Grace
So
and
good.
Frankie.
Yeah, dude. There's some
My
good stuff there. I just don't think it was ever really the place for him.
my partner was a big fan of I'm Just Pete, which he did on the I'm Just Ken parody that he did on
Oh yeah, when he hosted
earlier this year. Yeah.
Premiere. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, she was a big fan of that. She had a recurring bit leading up to the Oscars that it was going to get nominated in every category despite not being eligible for any of them.
Look, he is a much better host on SNL than he ever was a cast member, if you ask me.
I think
Because
it's because they have to find things to plug him in that he's going to work in. That's kind of the challenge of a host.
Unless Pete is doing a very specifically Pete thing, which is Chad and the pre-recorded raps, he's just another character in a sketch, and he breaks in every sketch to the point to where it's just like it's. If
I mean,
Pete's
it's
in
not
it, like,
Jimmy
and he's
Fallon,
not
Horatio Sands level bad, but it's
at
close.
least you had two of them. And I feel like they were more constrained, honestly, because anytime you get Pete in a sketch that is not a Pete sketch, he's just laughing through the whole thing. The entire thing. He just starts out laughing. Like, it's just. The whole thing is he has broken before we come back from commercial. Is what I'm telling you. Jeez.
Brett, do you have any strong Pete Davidson feelings one way or the other?
I don't really know.
Okay. I think one thing we can all agree on, though, a fundamental miscast for this role.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, it just, I don't think his voice, because he's got this kind of like higher register where he can like kind of get into almost some squeaky territory sometimes. And for a Great Dane character, that's not the voice that I'm expecting. I'm expecting something more like Academy Award winner J.K. Simmons, quite frankly.
You need Clark Duncan up in that motherfucker. That's Marmaduke.
I would even go for a Thomas Hayden Church.
Oh yeah,
Like,
actually, yeah. Wow. Okay, I can't believe I agree with that, but yeah, that's a
like,
really good casting choice,
like
actually.
just like the voice and the register, like, and
Yeah.
even kind of the just like whatever kind of like attitude that he sort of brings to things, I think would fit really well there. And he'll be we'll talk about him a little more in future episode of this podcast, Over the Hedge, which I believe he plays
Oh boy.
the dog catcher
The
in. So
hedge. Oh, okay.
Well, there's the thing: is that Hollywood's MO nowadays. If there's going to be an animated feature, you get big name stars.
yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you throw J.K. Simmons, in there as in a supporting role, but you don't give him the lead. Um,
Even if you
and like,
should.
yeah, well, no, and I mean, you could also argue that I don't know, maybe get some fucking voice actors. Don't just hire stars that have barely done any. Maybe you hire the people that do it for a living. I don't know. Call me fucking crazy, I guess.
You're
crazy.
fucking crazy, I guess.
Yeah, thanks, Warner Brothers executive. I just don't
I
understand.
wish.
Like it doesn't make any sense because you end up with shit like Chris Pratt as Mario. Like, come on.
Yeah. Or
What's
Chris
that?
Pratt as
What's
Garfield.
which is even worse because at least Chris Pratt as Mario grew on me because that movie is
It's
actually
not bad. It's
it's
not
not.
bad.
It's kind
That's
of
what I'm
a
saying,
delight, and I was
like
smiling
Brett,
the whole time, and I had a fun time with it. Like it
I
was.
totally agree with everything that you're saying, but also the movies that I've seen where they've done that, we have been so lucky that it has mostly worked out. Like, should voice actors be occupying these roles? Yes. But so far, knock on wood, it hasn't been that bad. Like we've had some pretty decent voice acting from celebrity folk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog movies are a notable exception to the rule there. Yeah, because I mean
And straight up,
those aren't big name stars. Maybe Idris Elba is, but like not Chris Pratt, not Pete Davidson, who isn't a big star, but he's like a flavor of the month type of like celebrity, like that everybody's like a huge fan of.
I mean, he
But is
was
it?
then for sure.
He
I
was,
think he's
yeah,
got some
like
staying power now, but I agree with you then. He did kind of seem
Mm-hmm.
like a kind of a
yeah,
phase, a fad.
yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah. Well,
was
I don't
he
know.
was
Does
still
he
on
have staying
SNL at
power?
that point, right?
Yeah, he was. What,
I don't.
2022? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still don't see him
That was
everywhere. I
his
don't know
last
what you're
season.
talking about staying power, but all right.
Because he left and then immediately hosted the premiere of the next season.
Right. I think I
And
remember.
my boy Kyle Mooney came back this season in the Pirates 2 sketch. What's up, Kyle Mooney? Woo. Sorry.
Yeah, you do like Kyle Mooney.
I really do.
You're on record. You're on record.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like Pete Davidson will pop up in shit. Like he's a James Gunn guy now. So he was in the Suicide Squad. He had a small role in Guardians 3. He was in Fast X, apparently. I still haven't
You
seen
still
that
haven't
one.
seen
But
that, Steven? You love
nope.
those movies.
I do. I heard Fast X wasn't good though.
But you have to watch it, dude. You spend so much time with those characters. You have to find out what happens.
I know. And I don't know if they're going to do another one. He also plays a Transformer in the most recent Transformers movie.
Bitch, they gonna make another Fast and Furious. Get out of here. Come on, man.
Yeah, come on.
They gonna make at least one more. Now, if that one bombs, maybe we won't have another one. But come on.
Like, there's going to be another one. Let's be honest.
Once you've made 9 successful movies, like, and one of them flops, you don't be like, oh well, that's the end. We'll better pack it up. No, dude.
Hollywood loves IPs and franchises.
Yes.
Like, come on now. You out of your mind?
Yeah, dude.
Come on.
Hey, you guys, let's do the plot so I can pee. Because the dice are not gonna pick me. They are not gonna pick me. I'm confident.
Like if it picks me, I'm only gonna do it up to where I watched.
You're like, and then he pooped in the cup, and that's as far as I got.
Look, yeah. I can stretch 25
30 seconds
into 60 seconds. Lord knows I've done it before.
I was going to say you've done it before. All right. Well, Brett gets the D6 of Destiny. I might as well explain to you because we've established.
I still have forgotten to bring the dice up into
do
my
I?
office.
All right, I got dice.
I keep forgetting. Fucking somebody remind me.
Steven's got so many dice to the point to where I'm going to say he's a dice collector now, but this is the only thing he uses it for. So I think we should make Steven the dice guy now.
Friend of the show, Phil Smith, past and future guest, was at C2E2, and I was like, hey man, while you're there, could you pick me up some dice? And he was kind enough to do so. So now I have more
dice are like tattoos. Dice are like tattoos. Once you get one set, you will not stop. You
It's
immediately become a dice goblin.
I only have one tattoo so far. It's this guy right here.
One.
Well, I mean, I'm
tattoo of
also
a die.
saying that from a perspective of someone who knows people who have tattoos and say that.
Sure.
I don't actually have any. So
my friend's husband, when he got his first tattoo, apparently was traveling home thinking about what his next tattoo was going to be.
That's what I hear. So
wow.
You're the exception to the rule, I guess. I don't know.
I'll get another one eventually.
Well, we've got to get a disenfranchised tattoo, you guys.
I'm in for that.
One of you can get two.
I don't know what it's going to be.
One of you can get a second one.
Oh, man.
That'll be mine.
Brett.
Hey, if anyone would like to design the disenfranchised tattoo, we'll make it a contest.
No. I know exactly what it is. Since Brett's not getting it, if Brett's not getting it, the official disenfranchised tattoo is going to be real big across our chest in Old English lettering. Brett sucks. Unless Brett gets the tattoo, and then we'll make it something. We'll make it a contest, and we'll have people.
Is that supposed to be incentive for me to get one?
Yes, but we're actually going to put like your full name and your social security number and stuff on there too. Like it's going to be like if we end up shirtless or dead,
pictures of
ourselves, steal your identity. Yeah,
all over the internet. Yeah, well, Tucker and I will start a weird platonic OnlyFans page just so we can show off our tattoos.
Yes.
Cool. Your local authorities in your respective areas will be hearing from you.
Great. Brett's getting the tattoo. Yes.
You heard it here first.
What if we did a henna tattoo on you, Brett? We could do a henna one. And then you'd be like, shit, that looks so good. And then you'd be like, I might as well get the real thing on like my butt cheek or something. Mine's going to be on my forehead, so I'm not worried about it.
I would love to do it, but I just can't.
I can dig it. I'll allow it.
Well, the plot in 60 seconds is the part of the show where, at the behest of the D6 of Destiny, or whatever the hell we're calling this thing now,
that's what it is.
Is it? Did we just transfer the Destiny powers of the D6 to this D6?
Yeah. I think it's
Why would it be different?
It's a different die.
Yes. Okay. I declare you the actual.
I didn't use the same die every time. Spoilers. I didn't use the same die every time.
Oh, what?
Behind the curtain again. The illusions we do.
I just grabbed whatever D6 was close to me at the time. All right. I didn't know.
Because he was relying on Destiny, dude.
I didn't know it had to
That's
be
why it's the D6 of Destiny. Because you pick it at random.
Anyway, I am 1 and 2. Brett is 3 and 4. Tucker 5 and 6. So at the behest of the die, we will decide which of us will be recounting the plot of 2022's Marmaduke in 60 seconds or less. And the die says it is 5.
Is that me?
That's Tucker.
Okay, well, I'm totally going to do the plot in 60 seconds now. But I have to pee first.
Okay, go pee. I'll put 60 seconds on the clock.
5 minutes later.
All right, I have 60 seconds on the clock, Tucker. As always, I will give you the 30 and 10-second warnings. And your time starts whenever you do.
So there's this dog, and he is Marmaduke, and he's in the bedroom because he's a bad dog, and so he can't go to the birthday party. But then he busts out the window chasing a bee and straight up, like, makes the pool water go out of the pool, but somehow it floods the whole neighborhood, and it's just one pool of pool water, which is kind of strange, but whatever. And the dad's like, fuck this dog, and everybody else is like, nah, dude. And so they get this guy to like train him to be a show dog, even though actually I think it's that guy's idea. He comes to
30
them,
seconds.
Yeah, anyway, so Marmaduke shits in the trophy. Stop the clock, Steven.
Nope. That's not how this works.
Marmaduke shits in the trophy, and so he loses the competition. And the dude is like, "Fuck you! I don't want to train you anymore." And so
10
Marmaduke
seconds.
runs around the world for some reason. Like I don't know what that was supposed to do, but okay. Anyway, so eventually they pressure him into, joining,
And
like
that is
training him
time.
again. And so they go to the big dog competition, which is really the highlight of the film. Like that's like the whole film was kind of stinky, but like the last 20 minutes was almost okay because there was some fun stuff there. But yeah, so Marmaduke does not win. The bad dog that J.K. Simmons plays, one of his trainers was pretending to be a lady so he could be a judge, and then they got arrested. And so then it went to the Shih Tzu dog that did a rap while they were doing kung fu, which was really cool. And
A minute 30.
And then like this crane drops on Marmaduke and everybody thinks he's dead, though nobody checks. So they just immediately go into a eulogy instead of like checking to see if this dog is fucking dead or not. And by the time they're done, Marmaduke's like, what? And they're all like, Marmaduke! And like everybody's happy. And then Pete Davidson raps and
Minute 50.
There's like this shitty good Charlotte sounding song. And then there's a really cool instrumental. And then that's the end of the movie.
2 fucking minutes.
It's
Plot
a complicated
in
movie.
120 seconds. No, it's not.
It's a complicated movie, and no one understands it but Tucker.
See,
And
I can't.
5-year-olds.
I can't do the next line because I would have to say your first name, and you hate your first name.
You
So I
could say
can't do that.
JL, or the letter J, aka the letter J. Some people just call me the letter. That's real.
The artist formerly known as the letter.
No, not all that, but like that's probably implied though.
So yeah, if you couldn't tell by that plot description, this
It's a silly movie.
this movie's bad, aggressively bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the record, I stopped watching at the shitting in the trophy.
20 minutes in, this man.
It's like 25. It was like 25, almost 30. Come on, now. Give me some credit.
Wow.
I remember pausing the movie
really did it, Brad.
right after that scene, like when they're in the parking lot fighting over whether or not the trainer is going to continue training Marmaduke.
And that guy gets hit by a car like 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty brutal. I was like, are they going to hit the kid next to him next? What the fuck is happening here? Jesus.
But I paused the movie around that point and was amazed that it was not even half over. And I'm like, I don't even know where we go from here.
There was an hour left. An hour.
That was
left.
part of the thought that made me stop watching. It was also that, like,
Mhm.
where do we go from here? Because it has to be nowhere that's relevant. And I still have an hour of this movie left. I don't want to do this anymore. I got better shit to do.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I got settlements to help in Fallout 4. Thank you very much.
This is better than that Alvin and Chipmunks movie, though.
That at least had some great background animation.
They kept it to just cultural stereotypes in this and not racial ones. So,
except for you mentioned the dog at the end that does
the Shih Tzu
kung
that
fu.
raps and does kung fu's. Yeah.
That sounds,
Yeah.
that sounds racist.
Every dog is kind of an embodiment of their own country. So the Mexican dog
is racist.
Is a Chihuahua who loves bacon tacos.
Okay.
Because dogs love bacon and Mexicans love tacos, you see.
Yeah. That what I thought was hilarious and it's crazy that
Wait, there were jokes in this movie?
I don't believe you.
So.
But something I noticed, and it's crazy that I noticed something so stupid in 30 minutes of watching this movie. But when they're in backstage at the first dog show, like only Marmaduke, only he has his actual name above his section. The rest are just dog breeds.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I noticed that as well.
Brett, you didn't get to this part,
guys.
But you didn't get to this part, Brett, but they explain in the movie that he's his own breed, which is a not so great Dane. So you could flip that logic and say that he is Marmaduke, like that is a breed because he's the only not so great Dane.
If this weren't a kids movie, you might even call him a piss poor Dane. But
yeah,
No,
Yeah, dude.
I stand corrected. I'm very sorry. Please excuse me.
That's
Carry
okay.
on.
That's okay.
No
Maybe you should
excuses.
finish the movie, bro.
Okay, all right.
JK, no, you're good.
I refuse.
Speaking of JK, how much money do you think they actually paid J.K. Simmons to do this movie?
Enough. What? This would have taken a day. A
Yeah.
day. Tops.
This. He probably walked in, did this with his eyes closed, and walked back out.
Like drinking his Starbucks in between lines, you know?
Asking for pictures of Spider-Man. Like, he just,
Yeah.
He is one of our greatest utility players. He's a guy who will show up in almost literally everything and just kill it every time. I'm trying to think of when I've ever seen him in anything where he's been bad.
He's my third favorite part of the Lady Killers after Tom Hanks and Marlon Wayans.
Okay, that movie maybe.
He's so great in that. Are you kidding me?
A movie I notoriously
because I
don't
can't
like.
possibly believe it's that bad.
Hey, that's a
based on
movie with
everything
hard
Tucker
jokes
said.
too. He has
It's
IBS.
It's a 2.5 star movie for me,
Boo.
which
Boo.
Tucker thinks is far too low.
I think it is the Coen Brothers movies. I'm not going to say it's the funniest Coen Brothers movie, but it's the Coen Brothers movie that gets the most consecutive laughs out of me. Like the other ones are more subtle, so they're bigger laughs. But like I'm like the other security guard at the casino that Marlon Wayans works at, where he doesn't have any dialogue. He just laughs the whole time. He just laughs. He's just a big guy, and he laughs. That's me through the entirety of Lady Killers. Yeah.
Well, there's always one.
And J.K. Simmons is in that movie.
He
has a catchphrase, and he has IBS.
Mm-hmm.
Tucker, do you have that movie digitally? Have we discussed this?
I have it on DVD.
Okay.
I keep waiting for it to go on sale on Vudu so I can buy it and share it with the world.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, if you have it on your video, I would totally go watch it right after.
If it's, I'll put a little alert on my Just Watch app to what if it comes streaming on anything. It'll give me a notification. I'll let you know.
Cool.
And then we'll do a special episode on it, and we'll all watch it.
I dislike this idea. The thing I respect the hell out of about J.K. Simmons is he always brings it no matter what he's in, but he's not one of those guys who's like, I'm not going to do something because I have an Oscar. Like, I'm too big for this now. Like, he still does commercials. He is still the voice of the yellow M&M. He is still the farmer's insurance pitchman. Like, he will do this shit and sell it every fucking time, even if it's something very small. Like, he is consistently so good.
I think, and you could say that about several actors, and one that comes to mind would be Nicolas Cage, and that's how he keeps like a steady income. Like, you know, Hollywood comes calling and gives him the big payday, but he's not just sitting around scratching his ass in between. He's doing a day of voice work here. He's doing 3 days in a little role in this little movie here. Like, keep him busy.
Sam Jackson is another one of those.
Yeah, he does that too, for sure.
Like, that man just doesn't stop working, but he's such a consummate pro that he's the guy that shows up like scene ready every fucking time and gets so frustrated when the other people in the scene are not scene ready. Like, when they're still like not hitting their marks, struggling with their lines. He's just like consummate pro. But the fact that he does like 5 movies a year, you'd think he'd like miss his mark on something, but no, he is always like in it because he is so fucking good. And I definitely put like J.K. Simmons at that level. Nicolas Cage has done a lot of shit, but he brings it every time. And he'll admit, he's like, I've done bad movies, but I'm not bad in them. He's like,
at least gives it his all in every single one of them.
He goes, you can never say I gave a half-assed performance. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen a phoned-in Nick Cage performance. I've seen bad ones.
I've seen unhinged ones.
But bad ones with passion behind them.
Right.
You can't be mad at him because he's just doing his best.
He's doing the Nick Cage thing.
Yeah. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but he always goes balls to the wall, and I can appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think Simmons is definitely in that camp. Mm-hmm. If you can think of any others, email us, disenfranchisepod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Official... Oh, go ahead, Steven.
No.
I was just going to say you can comment on the official conversation at patreon.com/disenfranchpod. And you don't have to pay. You can be like a free member and it's available to listen to and you can comment on it. That's the official conversation. I'm just saying that's where you should say it too.
That's
If you
that's
want to
where
talk
the
to other people
community
about it.
lives. That's where
Yes.
the fans, the community, they all there. Some of us pay, some of them pay us, some of them don't.
Tucker and I are there too.
I need to be there more often, but I will be.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, we're there. We're participating in that conversation. So if you want a direct line to us, that's how you get it. Or you can email us too at disenfranchpod@gmail.com.
That's
Just
true.
let us know who your favorite actors who are always bringing it are. Consistently. And he is, I would say without a doubt, MVP on this one. He is I don't know. You said Keckner, I gave it to Simmons. Like he's given way better than this movie deserves, quite frankly.
I agree, but I think the reason I give it to Keckner is because he is transforming himself into what this movie deserves. Whereas J.K. Simmons is just J.K. Simmons in it up. And is he too good for this movie? Yeah. Does he give a better performance than anybody else in this movie? Sure. But Keckner is actively going out of his way to let you know he knows exactly what movie he's in. And like I said, I didn't even know it was him. How is that him?
Well, see,
How is that
you say he transformed himself. I say it sounded like he was phoning it in real fucking hard.
That's kind of where I land on that too, Brad.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. He did a very generic cartoon voice.
Or did he just phone it in? I think you might be giving him too much
I don't know. I don't.
Like,
there's about a 50-50 chance, is what I'm saying.
Look, I'm a David Keckner fan. I think he's a funny dude. I just
absolutely.
But he was giving very like Bill Murray in the Ghostbusters video game vibes. Like, I'm just here to collect a paycheck. I don't even want to.
Contractual obligations. I signed a contract and I have to be here.
Look, Bill Murray didn't even complete that contract. He walked out halfway through and they had to scrap a bunch of fucking scenes. But that's Bill Murray for you.
Brett, if
David
you
Keckner finished the movie. So there's
if you like Keckner,
as far as we know, there's like no one's written anything about this movie other than a bunch of reviews saying it sucks. Like, this is not going to get one of those like oral histories. What happened with this movie? Kind of like retroactive. No, this movie does not get that treatment.
It would, because I want to know, because these are all production companies that I've never heard of before. The director has, some stuff. There's some stuff the director has done that we're all familiar with, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, he was a visual effects guy, did visual effects work on some truly incredible movies, including, but not limited to, James Cameron's The Abyss, Back to the Future 2, Hunt for Red October, Ghost, T2 Judgment Day, Jurassic Park. And then we start tiptoeing into some weird territory. Rising Sun, the Wesley Snipes, Sean Connery movie, The Flintstones in '94. Then a big old 12-year break from visual effects. And I think that was when he did his leap to directing. He did Spawn. Big old leap there before a TV movie called Pixel Perfect and another one called Halloween Town High, Frankenfish. And then he does visual effects on Two Tickets to Paradise, the Dr. Dolittle direct to DVD releases, Tale to the Chief, and $1 Million Mutts. He's a visual effects producer on the Donnie Darko sequel, S. Darko, the reason we can never do Donnie Darko on the main feed.
No, that doesn't exist. Have you seen that? That's bad.
Doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
No,
I actively avoided it.
Undercover Brother 2 does not exist. I refuse to watch it, so we'll be covering it.
There are definitely movies that I think we could make a strong argument for don't exist, okay? So.
Yeah. So basically what Steven's saying is that Spawn is the only real movie with actual production companies that we would recognize that this man has ever directed.
Correct. I mean, he's done an animated Boxcar Children movie and its sequel, Surprise Island. Yeah.
The fuck? I used to read the shit out of those books when I was a kid. There's fucking
Boxcar Children is the shit. They look look at this. I mean, this animation, the character design, this is like the Sims level
This looks
Worse,
absolutely
actually.
atrocious. Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Click
Yeah,
that link,
no.
Brett. Click that link. Click that
Click
link
it real
and
hard,
I
Brett.
descend
don't.
into the uncanny
I don't
valley.
wanna.
Do it anyway.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! I'm out. Never mind.
Right?
Speaking of animation style, let's talk about the animation style of this movie. We touched on it earlier when Brett asked the question, why do you adapt a comic book if you're not going to, or a comic strip, if you're not going to at least try to emulate the visual style of the comic strip?
Stephen, there's one thing I really want to say about this animation style is that it's UGLY. It ain't got no alibi, Stephen. It's ugly.
It is.
Hey, it's ugly.
It is
real ugly.
Very ugly.
That's the other
Off-puttingly
thing
ugly.
that some, animated movies want to go for nowadays. They want to have their very own distinct visual style, so
Right.
they won't be compared to Pixar. That's all it is. And sometimes it works, and sometimes, like this, most of the time it doesn't.
I think it has to be good is like the qualification. If this is not good, it's not good.
Yeah. If this movie had been a good movie, I'm sure we'd be talking about how, wow, this is a really weird and quirky animation style that makes it distinct and interesting.
Though I will say that the animation itself, even though the character design just made it for naught, the animation itself was smooth and pretty well done, and like the camera work was
For the most part, I agree with you.
convincing. Yeah, but those character models just bring it all. It doesn't matter. Like that stuff just looks worse because of how bad the characters look.
I can't explain it, but like so, and maybe either of you who may know a little bit more about computer animation or animation in general be able to explain this to me. But like, you look at a Pixar movie, and it has like a look to it, but it has like a feel to it as well. And when I watched this, that's why I said it was giving me Food Fight vibes. Like it feels like cheap computer animation,
like very flat.
Flat. Maybe that's what it is. Like it felt like the exact. It's not far removed from the same type of computer animation the Food Fight used.
It's like the difference between, like, to give you three examples, like a high, middle, low end animation kind of bracket. Disney has always had, at least particularly its feature animation, very high end production values. They're taking the time, they're adding layers, shadows, highlights, things like that to present a more real image, a greater depth of field. Warner Brothers is kind of your middle, your Looney Tunes, kind of your middle of the road animation. They may reuse some animation styles or some character models, things like that. But generally speaking, and it does look a little flatter. You don't have the depth, you don't have the highlights, the shadows, but you have some of that. And then your low end, you've got.
Are you going to say Hanna-Barbera?
I'm going to say fucking Hanna-Barbera.
I knew it. I fucking knew it. You son of a bitch. I knew it.
I love Hanna-Barbera, but you cannot argue the cheapness of that animation.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
You're
absolutely right.
I mean, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like the gag where the characters are running and it's the same background just recycled over and over and over again as they're running. That's kind of lends to the cheapness. It's mostly moving lips, like
that's why it was so easy to do that C-Lab show on Adult Swim.
Exactly.
Fucking easy.
And Space Ghost as well. That's because that's absolutely all they did is they took all those old animation cells, put them in new backdrops or in new circumstances or situations, and added funny voices.
Brilliant.
Bingo bango, you got a new show. Like that's what Adult Swim started.
That's Lemonade. As. Yeah.
So like, I mean, and it works because it's so fucking cheap. So I mean, that's kind of like your hierarchy. And this I would put on the lower end, and I would put like Food Fight probably even below Hanna-Barbera because that shit didn't even get finished.
You're thinking like Funimation, or not Funimation,
Filmation.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Like that kind
of
Ghostbusters,
He-Man.
Well, no, I'm thinking of something else then. I'm thinking of the ones where like there's barely any actual movement. It's just like their mouths will move. What am I thinking of? There's like
that's not Filmation.
Like
I know what you're talking about now, Brett. I did misspeak, but I
like
can't
Clutch Cargo, like that shit from like the 50s.
I don't know. I just remember seeing some stuff in the 80s, like maybe on local television. That was just, it seemed like static images that just had like animated mouths.
I mean,
almost like a motion comic, sort of.
They did that shit in the 50s all the time.
Well, maybe I saw something like that on a rerun, probably.
I mean, and I mean, Hanna-Barbera did its fair share of that kind of
Yeah,
stuff
but
too.
they were kind of slick about it, honestly. Hanna-Barbera were pretty slick
They
about
were
being cheap
clever.
as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the Jetsons movie on this podcast a couple years ago. Still one of our most downloaded episodes. A thing that boggles my mind. But thank you
We
for
should
downloading
re-release
that
it on YouTube, and we'll get like 1 billion views.
one. I don't know. I feel like that meme has died.
Yeah, it was
That
all
was one of those
meme-based.
like striking while the meme was hot kind of
We'll
things.
bring it back.
Yeah.
We'll bring it back.
But
Boys.
the I don't know where, I don't remember, but I mean, like there you actually can see them pouring like Disney level production values into those Hanna-Barbera characters, and they've never looked better than they did in the Jetsons movie. So I mean, but you know, so there are levels to this, and I would put Marmaduke fairly low on that list. Like I would put it in, like down around the Hanna-Barbera level. Now, is there more going on? Yes, but it's still, again, it's very flat. It's choppy in places, and those character models, frankly, ridiculous. Like, and these
They're just
days,
ugly, man. They're hard to look at,
they are
and
like
For the mom.
But that's
the
look.
mom.
I get that, like that ass and all that, but like it's so ridiculously proportioned that I can't even like pretend to think that's attractive.
It feels like some of the darker corners of like deviant art were involved in her character
Yeah.
A little bit,
design.
yeah. Honestly,
It's
like yeah,
she's the
you're not
Rule
wrong.
34 version of the mom from The Incredibles.
Right, exactly.
And, yeah, honestly, I could see that.
Yeah, like someone on that
absurd.
animation team like
Absurd.
set out to just, I'm gonna out dump truck Mrs. Incredible. Watch this, and drew a character model, and somehow, and I think we talked about this on the Food Fight episode. Animators are a notoriously horny lot.
Oh,
They're
for
a
sure.
silly lot. Yeah.
Someone greenlit that, and it never got taken out, and it almost feels like a joke that went too far because either no one noticed or no one cared. And so now we're stuck with it in the final film, and it looks absurd. Frankly,
I think the animation in this is to the quality of probably television CGI animation from 15 years ago.
Yeah,
It's about where we are in this film.
yeah.
Which if it had been 15 years ago, cool, but it's 2022, y'all. Like, what's going on?
No,
I think guys, what's going on?
I think the design of Marmaduke is actually, and like the dogs are actually not bad, but they're not well animated. I would say that's my predominant complaint there. Like, I don't mind the design on those characters at all. It's just I don't feel like they're animated particularly.
I thought the pit bull looked pretty cool. I guess I don't know. It was a fun design. I think maybe because like my favorite part of the movie is when he lifted the whole building,
the stadium, like bites the bar and like just lifts the stadium.
That was so fucking cool, dude.
Okay,
that was cool, you guys. That was real cool.
Yeah. I looked, and there are a surprising number of 5-star Letterboxd reviews for this movie.
Oh, I'll fucking bet. Jeez Louise.
And I read a couple, and one of them it made me laugh. Someone just said the dog lifts the building. There, I put in an incredibly obscure reference to this movie to prove that I watched it. Oh, here we go. From Walter Kimball. A dog lifts a stadium. That's right, bitches. I actually watched this movie. I'm mentioning a specific moment from it that really isn't in any of the diatribe or polemic. I genuinely love this movie and all of its oddities. I want Marmaduke to fart in my, and that's where it ends. Mercifully, that's where it ends.
That's valid. I don't agree.
Yeah.
With that. I did not have a good time with this because it was good. I had a good time with this because it was really, really bad. And I was in a very, very specific headspace when I watched it. Extremely specific headspace when I watched it. So
to quote yourself from earlier, you were having a doozy of a day.
A straight up doozy.
And I think Marmaduke was able to
just because it was so bad. I was just like,
break you out of your doozy.
I'm just gonna let go. and let this movie take me.
Let go and let Marmaduke.
Yeah.
So,
That was my
man.
experience. Yeah.
It's
real bad though. It is real bad.
I'm legitimately glad you had a good time. I don't understand how anyone can have a good time with this, but look, I'm also not the target audience. Again, my partner said at the moment when Marmaduke shit in the trophy, my partner was like, your nephews would love this. You know why? Because boys that age, and I'm talking under the age of 10 here, love poop and fart jokes.
And you
It's
guys
their bread and butter.
Let me come in and say that the biggest reason I think that I appreciated this on a real level, not on an absurd, this is so bad level, is because, like I said before, for the last 15 years,
Right.
I have watched so much children's television. Like, my daughter has been watching the same stuff, like, her entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got another kid who's watching this, like, kind of preschool sort of through 6-year-old kind of content.
Right.
And let me tell you, you guys, if you watch some of this shit that my kids watch, you would be thankful for some motherfucking Marmaduke. Okay?
Sure.
I believe
Jeez
it.
Louise. Some of the
I
shit
do.
I've had to watch just today. Marmaduke looks like Citizen Kane compared to that shit.
Ooh.
So, Marmaduke, that's what I'm saying.
Take my wife's name out your fucking mouth, but
And
okay.
I think because it is targeted at kids, I can forgive it more because I am kind of a part of that world and have been for a long time. So I can kind of compare it to the other shit I have to exist through, whether I want to or not. So to me, walk in the fucking park, dude. Easy movie to watch. Was it bad? Yeah. Was it real bad? Absolutely. Was it fucking terrible? Sure. But I've seen way, way, way worse.
Okay.
I've seen shit that'll turn you white.
I for real. For real.
I have a feeling that was a Ghostbusters 2 reference.
No, it was a Ghostbusters 1 reference. Get the fuck out of here.
All right. Bye, everybody.
It's like, it's a light show and they're dumb it. Oh, wait. Oh, it's a light show and what's going on? And Winston says, I've only been with these guys for a couple of months, but the shit I've seen would turn your hair white.
No, he just says shit that'll turn you white. It's funnier because it's like a racial joke.
Yeah, because he's Ernie Hudson's black.
What?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know
He's
if you
an
knew that.
African American.
I don't know if you knew
for
that.
sure. Yeah.
Good for him. I don't know what we're doing.
Marmaduke.
Yeah.
We wrapped it up. What's the box office? It was on Netflix, dude.
It was. Yeah. So this was after, I don't really know that anyone wanted to distribute this, so it got kicked to Netflix, and Netflix in their way fucking buried it. Like the box office on this, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's one of the lowest I've ever seen, if not the lowest I've ever seen.
When I searched for this on Netflix was almost like, "Are you sure?"
Do you really?
Well, I'm glad I went looking for it to find to stream because all I knew of was the live action movie, and that's the movie I thought we were going to watch. So if I hadn't searched on Netflix and seen the animated one, I would have watched the live action one and came to this recording going, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?"
That would have been very interesting. Actually,
I mean, future episode of this podcast, live action Marmaduke.
No, only Brett watches it, and we watch this one again.
No, I will never agree to that.
I'll watch this one again.
No,
I'll be the odd man out.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean this movie or I guess releases on Netflix, I guess I should say, on May 6th, 2022. It has no domestic box office because Netflix had no awards designs on this one, so they kicked it right to the streamer. The international box office, Tucker, did you look this up?
No, it was like $5.
The international box office is $1,521,190.
I can't imagine they put a lot of money into this. A couple 100,000, maybe.
Because
that's worldwide, this makes like almost. I mean, if you're rounding up, 3 million. You know,
I don't see a production budget anywhere on this movie.
That would be interesting to know for sure.
But yeah,
Because
you're
this
looking
cheap as
at about a
fuck.
$1.5 million global box office. But given all the people they had to pay and all the various performers, had to have been more than $1 million poured
Hey, at
into this
least they
movie.
didn't spend any money on marketing.
Yes, very true. Because Netflix ain't going to market any of this shit. Like, oof, this, boy. So it opened May 6th. Let's see what else opened May 6th, 2022.
Yeah.
But in theaters this time. It was the return of one of our favorite directors, perhaps referenced in the opening scene of this movie. After over a decade of having not made a film, it's a big budget superhero release called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
Which opens to $187 million, about $186 million more than Marmaduke made in its entire box office run. In second place, The Bad Guys, a movie about a bunch of bad guys. What if there were bad guys? That has been out for 3 weeks and is down from number 1. In third place, you've got Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
In Spanish.
Correct. In fourth place, Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Fantastic Beats? Is this a Biz Marquee movie, Steven? Is this a fucking Rozelle movie? What's going on?
Fantastic
Is this a
Beasts.
Ready Roxy movie? Fantastic Beats? Dropping beats?
Beasts.
No, I got you. Which one was it? That's the second one or whatever?
Second
they all
one.
fucking suck.
Yeah, I saw that one in theaters because my ex was really big into the Harry Potter.
Girl, me
shit.
too. Thankfully I didn't have to watch the third one because that came out after I
Same.
got my shit together and decided never to date anyone ever again.
Yeah.
Oh.
Meanwhile, I don't date people who like Harry Potter. So
There you go. Whatever works for you, as long as we don't have to have the fantastic beats in our lives. Lo-fi fantastic beats to study to in our lives.
And in fifth place, a movie that I saw in theaters with my boy Brett Wright, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Nice.
yeah.
And then rounding out the top 10, we've got The Northman, a movie I still need to see. It's the only Robert Eggers movie I've not seen.
North.
What if there was a Northman?
It's decent. It's
I
not.
liked
bad.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard good things. I would like to see it. I liked it. What am I talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about. In seventh place, The Lost City. That's that Sandra Bullock movie with Channing Tatum and Daniel Radcliffe.
I only know it because I was seeing a lot of movies around that time, and that trailer was in front of all of them.
All of them, correct. In eighth place, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, a movie I actually still have not seen, but I use the gif of Nicolas Cage from that movie all the time.
So
For shame. You need to watch it,
Such a good
Steven.
movie.
You need it in your life.
I do.
real good.
In ninth place, Memory, which is apparently a Liam Neeson movie. So there you go. There's that. He's on the cover with a gun with a silencer on it. Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
And in 10th place, Father Stew. What if Mark Wahlberg was a priest?
Oh, that happened? Okay.
Yep.
It did.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I remember.
And then in 11th place,
yeah,
the biggest movie of 2022. It was Morbin time.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Morbius in 11th place. See our
more
episode on Morbius. Yeah.
I still haven't watched it. I tried to watch it and turned it off after 20 minutes. Marmaduke better than Morbius.
Disagree.
I can't go that far.
I can't sanction this buffoonery.
No.
I can't expect you to, honestly.
The tomatometer score on Marmaduke 0%.
The big bad
0.0. No critics consensus because they all think it bad. Pete Davidson, by the way, nominated. I fuck this organization, but nominated for a worst actor Razzie. Yeah,
fuck those motherfuckers.
The Metacritic score non-existent because 4 critics have not reviewed this movie.
They just
on Metacritic.
They watched it, but they don't want to waste time reviewing it. People,
Did you look
reviewers watched it.
Yeah. No, I mean, why would you?
Exactly.
And Tucker, would you care to guess or have you already looked at the Letterboxd score?
I haven't looked at it, but you did tell me there were a bunch of 5s, so I'm really kind of thrown off. Oh
Spoilers,
fuck!
don't be.
Letterboxd. We're gonna go with a in between 1.8 and 2.2.
1.3.
Close.
Fuck a
Close.
duck. Gosh,
You
fucking
overshot.
darn it.
You overshot. I should say there are 222 5-star ratings. There are 4,652 half-star ratings.
One of which is mine. Spoilers. One of which is mine. I give it half
wow.
star.
That's a wow. That's a wow.
Tucker, what did you give it?
You know what? I gave it a 2 stars because, like I said, I could see a kid really enjoying this for a time in their life. And overall, look, this movie was shitty, but it wasn't negative and it wasn't bad. Like overall, it had a positive message. So who am I to fucking shit on it? 2 stars.
I have only ever given one other movie that in the history of this podcast, the ranking that I gave this movie. I'm going to read from my Letterboxd review. What you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard. At no point in
That's
your
a response
rambling,
to me.
incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. So that's a big 0 from me.
That's fantastic. Bravo. Bravo.
Yeah. I
That
can't
is
bring myself to give something a 0. I think I even gave Food Fight half a star.
I can't even bring myself to do that. So yeah, I've only given 2 movies 0 stars.
What was the other one? Was it Food Fight?
Well, it was Food Fight. Yeah. And again, Food Fight still the worst movie I've watched for this podcast, but Marmaduke, not much better.
You always put that caveat on the end. Is there a movie you've seen not for this podcast that's worse?
No.
Okay, so it's the worst movie you've seen, full stop.
Sure.
Okay, there we go.
We'll go with that.
That's the
I was
bad
just curious.
movies
You put
I've
that
seen.
caveat in there, and I'm like, wait a minute. Have you seen a worse movie? I need to know.
So I can watch it and also hate myself.
The amount of movies that I've seen that are worse than this movie could produce a spin-off podcast and run for years.
I'm sure,
I
man.
tell you.
There are so many bad movie podcasts out there, though. Like, I'm glad that that's not what we do. Like, yes, we talk about bad movies. It kind of comes with the territory. But every now and again, we, like, get a real fucking gem. And sometimes it's a surprising gem. And I love when that happens. And I try to go into movies like this looking for those gems. But at some point, the movie will reveal itself for what it is. So even if I'm hoping that this will be good, it didn't take me long to realize this movie was not.
Yeah, I'll it's great when we find those gems. I still remember the gems. Like Nutcracker in the Four Realms, that movie fucking slaps, and I don't care what anybody says.
I didn't care for it, but I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, sometimes you run into movies that are actually really great.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about this podcast.
Yeah, and that's I think the thing that sets us apart from a lot of bad movie podcasts is we've got the possibility that sometimes Hollywood just gets it wrong and there's a great movie that just should have gotten a sequel and never did.
Yeah.
And when that happens, we'll be there to talk about it because we are the Disenfranchised Podcast. You can find us on social media at DisenfranchPod, mostly Blue Sky, Instagram, Letterboxd, Facebook, and YouTube. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/disenfranchpod, where you can find all sorts of bonus episodes, bonus content, including Oops All Christianity Corner, What Are We Watching? And of course, your one-stop shop for the official Disenfranchised Conversation. That available with the free membership, all the rest available at the $5 level. Such much good stuff back there behind that paywall. And hey, while you're on the internet, if you want to support us but don't want to pay us, you can always go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and especially wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. That really does go a long way to helping us find more listeners like you. We think you're cool. We think other people are cool too, and you should help them find us. I'm your host, Stephen Foxworthy. Cool. Everybody's cool. Everything is awesome.
Yeah, dude.
I'm your host, Stephen Foxworthy. You can find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, and what's the other one? Blue Sky at Chewy Walrus. Brett, are you doing the socials these days? If so, where are you at?
No.
Yeah.
I'll occasionally post a thing on Instagram, but I don't. I've opened it once in the past week, and that was just to take a look at tuck mugs. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Fuck
Uh,
yeah, dude.
yeah, I posted one thing in the past year, so if that gives you any indication.
And it was
Hey,
fantastic, and I liked it immediately.
Well, thank you.
Immediately.
Yeah, so I'm just on Letterboxd. That's _Warlock. If you want to see me open that once a week to rate the movie that we watch. Sometimes I'll go see a movie outside of that and I'll rate it. That's cool. But otherwise, I have no presence. So
right on.
that's all for me.
Tucker, what about you?
Hi, I'm Tucker, and I'm on YouTube and Instagram at Ice909. That is ICENINE, the number 0, and the number 9. You can also find me on the Instagram at Tuck Mugs, the aforementioned Tuck Mugs. It's Tuck_Mugs, and it's a really rad place. And we just dropped some content the other day that was really, I mean, it was kind of rad. Like blending 3 different kinds of coffee, rad. Like, and if you're into that kind of thing, like, wow, you're gonna be like really. It's a travel mug, so not our normal fare. Kind of an oddball post, but we like to throw those in, shot glasses and pint glasses and stuff. It's mainly mugs, but
Tankards.
traditional mugs. Yeah. But we accept all kinds of glassware. But it's a really nice travel mug, and you should check it out. Tuck Mugs, Tuck_Mugs. I still have a couple I'm sitting on, so I don't know. Maybe we'll have a couple more posts in the next week or two. Who knows?
You shouldn't
man?
sit on mugs. Those are very often breakable, and
No,
they
I
might
have
hurt
to
your butt.
because your boy's so busy that I don't even have a fucking minute to sit on my phone and come up with something to say about a damn mug. So
That's true, and you're entering your
just,
busier season, man.
you just gotta wait till I have an opportunity. I'll find it. Like I'll be at work and like, oh man, I gotta pee, and like while I'm peeing, I'll be like, oh wait, and then I'll send it to you. Like it could be something like that. Like I'll find the time when the inspiration hits me. It's coming right to you. Tuck_Mugs.
That is why we also value over at Tuck Mugs guest mugs. So if you have a mug that you would like to see featured, send it to us and we'll probably post it. Just write a brief description where you got it, what's in it, and we'll post that shit right up there.
You know who hasn't sent me one yet, though, and it's peculiar because they sounded so excited about it when we spoke about it, is our friend Noah East from last week's episode. Yeah, I'm calling you out right now. This motherfucker was like, oh, guest mug, that sounds rad. Like crickets.
He did follow right away.
Fucking crickets, dude. Crickets.
Look, man, he has a child. Like,
man,
a young child.
Well, you tell me about having a young child. You gonna tell me about that shit, Steven?
I am.
Is that what's happening right now? Okay.
That is what's happening right now.
I'm just saying, guest mugs. Look, everybody in the world, send your guest mug. I just need a photo of the mug. Let me know where you got it or like what it means to you, and straight up, what's in it. Like, when you took that picture, what was in that? Was it coffee? Was it tea? Was it like some Kool-Aid?
Cocoa?
Or it could be hot cocoa or even soup. I eat soup out of mugs, you guys, exclusively. I don't use bowls for soup. I don't do that. I don't fuck around with bowls.
I don't either anymore.
Bowls are for commies and wimps. I'm a mug soup eater, man. That's where it's
You
at.
don't want Fop or Dapper Dan, man.
No, I don't. That's wonderful, Steve.
I got him.
You're fantastic. You got me, yeah. Most thing I've ever heard in my life.
My first guest mug post, it was Diet Coke.
It's true. It was.
That was what was in my mug.
Brett's done it. A lot of our guests have done it. People that I haven't spoken to in 10 years, I've randomly convinced on Instagram to do it.
Yeah.
And I haven't talked to them since, and that's fine. Just give me your mugs.
We're here for the mugs.
I will straight up MLM Facebook message somebody about some Tuck mugs. You're like, hey, I haven't talked to you in so long. What's going on? You got a mug you want to submit, bitch? Like, you know. Yeah, man. If I need mugs, I'll get them. I'm just saying I don't want to have to go get them because I don't want to hurt people's feelings.
I should reach out to a friend of the pod, Hope Lickner, who I know drinks from a mead horn on the regular. So
Give me some Hope mugs for sure.
right
I want
on.
everybody's mugs. Give me all the mugs.
Give me all the mugs.
Tuck_mugs on Instagram. And maybe coming to some other social medias. I don't know. Thinking about expanding it. We've got 35 followers right now. So I'm feeling a little like we need to expand a bit. It's time to franchise, you know.
It helps that we spend 20 minutes on Tuck Mugs every episode. You know,
it really does.
It's the word out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you listen to this podcast and you're not subscribed to Tuck Mugs, come on, you guys.
If we start wrapping up an episode and you realize there's 20 minutes left in the episode, chances are there's a really long Tuck Mugs promo somewhere in there.
So if you want to get these Tuck Mug promos down to a reasonable length, you'll follow Tuck Mugs on Instagram.
Because it'll never fucking happen.
If I get a certain amount of followers, I might cut it down to 10 seconds.
I'm sure those people are getting really good at just hitting fast forward on their podcatcher.
I would too. I absolutely would.
30 seconds. Skip 30 seconds.
They're still fucking talking about mugs. Skip 30 seconds.
There's people I'm sure who do that every time like I start speaking, probably. And then just say like 15 seconds. Oh, that's fair. Oh, okay, Steven's back. Good. Oh,
and can we blame them? I don't know. I honestly can't.
No,
I really don't.
I'm fine with it. I'm not for everyone, is what I'll say.
This is
I'm
true.
a bit much.
Sometimes.
I don't know if you've noticed. I'm a bit much.
And when you get you and I in a room together, it tends to be
it's a whole lot.
Suffer the poor Brett, honestly.
That's why I have to be here. Like, I'm your guys' power limiter, like to keep you guys in check.
Really And then when we had Noah, like last week, you were just kind of like,
yeah. There's a lot of starting to talk and then being cut off. Yeah,
right.
So.
I mean, you got three powerful personalities, and I think our buddy Norvin Klein commented on the official conversation. Is it just me, or are y'all just pretending that Brett is there? But good joke. Quite frankly, good joke.
Look, I'm telling you, sometimes it happens. We have a guest that has, matches your guys' energy, and it just drowns me out. Go listen to like any of outside of the Van Helsing episode. Go listen to a Hope Lickner episode, and I might as well not even be there. So it happens.
Wrong.
These things happen because strong personalities and me don't mesh well.
Right.
It is important, though. It is important that you're here, Brett.
It is.
No, I mean, I get it.
And we do genuinely and legitimately love it when you are here.
You are our rock, Brett.
Speaking of Norman, he did say that he's happy that I'm back.
Yeah.
So that feels good.
And we echo his sentiment for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, man.
And I need to get better about talking over a motherfucker. All right, like
fucking A, you do.
Okay.
Assertive.
Oh well, no. That's asking me to be assertive is maybe a bit much, but
how else are you going to talk over a motherfucker?
I mean,
we're all MFs around here.
That's true.
We're bad dudes. We're like wearing leather jackets and sunglasses, hair slicked back.
My hair is actually genuinely slicked back because there is very little air movement in my apartment right now, so I am sweaty and gross.
Dude.
What a great way to end this episode. I am so happy and proud of all of us. Good job, guys.
It's a good episode, I think.
It was.
How did we make the Marmaduke episode a really good episode? How did this happen? Like,
we're awesome, Brett. I don't know if anyone's told you or not, but we're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
When it clicks, it clicks. I'm just saying. When it clicks, it clicks.
I mean, look, sometimes shit movies happen. Somebody's got to talk about them, and who are you going to call?
Ghostbuster. Oh, wait. Oh. What? Oh, yeah, right. That's the answer.
Because we're the podcast.
That was a Ghostbusters 2 reference. All right, let's wrap it up.
Kitten. Okay,
this has been the Marmaduke episode of the Disenfranchised Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Foxworthy. For my co-hosts, Brett Wright and Tucker. Until next time.
Can I please have some of that bacon pizza now?
Only if you save some for pudding.